Field Branson National Airport in Missouri. That is according to the FAA. And just to continue on what you're saying, Ali, because what we're looking at here is not just the flames, but also the smoke. And I can only imagine how toxic that smoke is from jet fuel, especially since, as you said, this plane had just taken off. That means it was full of fuel. And so I'm wondering, those houses look really, really close, and the danger to people there, not just from potential fire, but also from smoke. MSNBC's Ali Velshi on the phone. Ali, this is a nightmare that seems to be metastasizing in Philadelphia. You can see these balls of flames that we were just talking to Tom Costello about. This is near the Roosevelt Mall. So now we're talking about the potential for injuries on the ground, obviously injuries from that plane or fatalities in both circumstances. This seems like a bad time to have utter chaos in the federal government and at the FAA.
Yeah, this is a really complicated matter because Northeast Philadelphia Airport falls under the Philadelphia Aerodrome. So the larger air traffic control area that controls that area is Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Tower. It's responsible for a lot of incoming and outgoing flights anywhere into the region. It's a pretty busy airport, actually. This flight was coming in from Morristown, New Jersey. As Tom was saying, these Learjets are equipped because of the size of them and the range that they can fly. They're equipped to put medical patients on. They can put the stretchers on them. Very unusual situation because to fly a Learjet, your qualifications have to be pretty high. So we're not quite sure, and we never like to speculate this early into an accident as to what could have happened, but it does seem to have overshot the runway. And when you do that, you end up in, first of all, a pretty residential area in Northeast Philadelphia. So it's densely populated. One of the good fortunes we always seen when a plane doesn't land exactly where it's supposed to be is that often it's in an unpopulated area. That's not the case here. This is a populated area. Roosevelt Mall is obviously a busy place. I'm looking at aerial shots right now, and there are closures all around the area because this is a big concern. It's also a very short journey on an aircraft that is very powerful, and because it's a jet, carries a great deal of fuel. Jet fuel is very flammable, so this has the potential to be much more serious than it looks at the moment. We do know what we know right now is it does seem to have been on a medical mission coming from Morristown, New Jersey. Very short flight, not long at all, but that's often the case with these medevac flights or these things in which they're moving patients. But yeah, this has landed outside of a fairly busy airport. Northeast Philadelphia is the second busiest airport in the Philadelphia metro area, but they all fall. I've flown out of the Philadelphia regional airports a lot. They all fall under Philadelphia. So any air traffic control information you need, if you're flying out of any of these small airports, it gets governed by the ATC and the controllers that deal with Philadelphia Airport because it's all in very similar related airspace, and it is incredibly busy airspace. Obviously, for those of us who live in New York, you have three major airports and a bunch of subsidiary airports, so there's probably no busier airport. But we've been talking about DCA with Reagan. There are three major airports in that area and a lot of subsidiary airports. This area around Philadelphia has a lot of them. So this is a busy airport area. It's a busy area for air flights. And it is sadly an area where if a plane does overshoot or something happens and it doesn't land on the pad of the airport, there's a great deal of danger of getting into an occupied area, where people live.
Around me coming home from Chicago, actually. I'm coming back to Atlanta. And get this Uber ride, this black woman, she picks me up, greeted me. Everything is fine. The radio is going, yada, yada. And the radio host, it was a topic about Trump, and it was briefly speaking on it. After the talk of Trump on the radio was over, the woman who was driving she didn't look back, but she asked, hey, what are your thoughts about Trump? How do you feel about Trump? I mean, it was like immediate. The response was like, when I say instant, it was, oh, he's a racist. He's this, that, and the third. You know, he don't care about black people, none of that. And then she goes, oh, so you think he's racist? I'm like, yeah, you don't? Basically, that was kind of, you know, what I was implying about when I say, yeah. She pretty much go, okay, well, can you provide some proof? Can you give me one thing that he said or one thing that he did that was racist? Like, you know, or can you source like a video up real quick? And I'm back there like, what? This is how a leftist liberal, the leftist liberal in me responded. I just went, oh, well, I mean, think about it. He don't like black people. He don't care about you. He don't care about me. He don't care about Muslims. He don't care about Latino. He don't care about nobody but himself. And I'm probably ranting about that for about 2-3 minutes straight. Seriously, a very emotional rant. Wow, how emasculating it is now to look back at that. Anyhow, just ranting. And right at the end of it, she calmly goes, she just killed my whole shit. She goes, but you didn't answer the question. I asked you, can you provide one statement or one thing that he did, or maybe source a link to something with visual proof to prove your claim on why he's racist. And not only did she say that, when she said that, I'm just kind of stuck. I'm up.
15,000 apartments in 39 different buildings, all mostly white tenants. That is until the Department of Justice took notice in 1973 and slammed Donald Trump and his father Fred Trump with a lawsuit. Trump management was charged with discriminating against African Americans and breaking federal law. Donald Trump, then just 27, was president of the company. The Department of Justice accused the Trumps of violating the Fair Housing Act, arguing they were turning away renters based on race and color. Who tipped them off? Local activists, so-called testers, posing as potential renters at Trump's buildings, mainly in Brooklyn and Queens.